Seems pretty good. Thanks for checking in, guys. This is my gym project, and clearly I am the worst YouTuber in the world because I have basically not videoed the majority of this progress.
All right, so I have both sides on blocks. This is the shallow or the deep side as far as leveling up. And I have a pretty straight level there. This was a little more powdery, so I gave it a little bit more height, assuming it's gonna settle about a 1/2 inch. So I'm hoping that's my difference there. I'm still definitely low on this side. I have 4 more pavers. So I'm about to level it this way now. I'm assuming I'm gonna need at least 1 more over here. You can't really see it, but there is pavers under this side here, and I still need to do that back corner. But if I can get 3 level sides, then the back corner will be easy. I've already dug that out. We are up to 1, 2, 3, 7 blocks. 6 there, and still 2 back here. I have 1 to spare, which I think is perfect because I still need to do this corner, and this is a low corner. Probably will relocate those that way and that way. I told the concrete guys, I really want to have a tight slab to this and little exposure. But check this out. I have almost a level container. So likely what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, when I relocate that, I will pull 1, I will let that side down, and I'll leave that level up there, and I'll measure and see how much further down I need to go. I had to do this over here already, where I had to go down a 1/2 inch to make it level, and it worked out pretty well. So that will be maybe later today, but most likely tomorrow. So you can kind of get a feel for the container and the orientation. It's really close to here, but the slab won't touch that. I'm about to stake it out with some twine. The reason I chose this direction is the sun path east to west. So the sun is typically kind of in this region here, and then it goes down kind of in this region here. And so I wanted this to face, perpendicular to that, so that when the really high 14-foot posts up here are the top of the shed roof, and it slopes down to the back of the container. So we will have an L. Technically my 4-wheeler would be on concrete when we're finished. So we'll have basically 200 square feet here and 200 square feet here for a total of about 400 square feet of concrete, making the whole area about 600 square feet, including the shipping container. This is cool. It's pretty exciting to see. This is obviously still a mess. I'm hoping to get some pictures back to Antonio, the concrete guy, and have him come out and get going on, kind of figuring out what they need to do here with the slope to get the pad laid out and poured. So the white string is the rough layout of the concrete. So kind of staked it out. It's about 10 feet here. That'd be about 30-foot run. Should be about a 20-foot run that way. And then another 10-foot run. And, the height of the string here, but probably roughly the height of the concrete. Obviously over there it's much higher just because it slopes so much. So yeah, making good progress. Just wanted to kind of put the idea there with actual dimensions. So still have to drop that side a little bit and finish that back corner, but this side's looking pretty good. This stack is leaning a tiny bit. I think that's gonna settle. I'm not too worried about it. This thing's super heavy. I don't think it's going anywhere. And soon it's gonna have concrete basically poured up against these 2 sides. So the only direction it could really go would be that way, and I'm not worried about that. So it turns out there's companies that will just rent you heavy equipment without any proof that you actually know how to operate said equipment. So anyways, here I have a John Deere 325G skid steer with tracks. Super fun to ride around, super fun to move dirt. It's so powerful. I think it's got about 80 horsepower to diesel. And I'm trying to just basically scrape this ground, get all the organic material off, all the roots, all the branches, and get down to some dirt. And what I find is basically powdered sand. And so I'm bringing in a bunch of basically road fill or road base they call it, which is a very good compactable product that is good for site prep, basically for concrete. It compacts well. And so I'm going to bring that in shortly, but at this point I'm basically just trying to get down to something that's more like a clay, and I end up kind of just digging a hole and having to come back and fix it with some of that road base. All right, so I bumped with the skid steer, I bumped the shipping container and shifted it that way about 6 inches. So I just dug down on this pier and repositioned some stuff. I still need to fix this one. I got a piston jack holding it up, super sketchy. This one's leaning pretty hard, so I got to redo that one as well. But I kind of have it temporarily supported, and I have a few of the pavers removed on this side because that's my final height, hopefully with 2 more pavers. So I'm gonna put my come along on the back of this and on this and try to pull it over about 5 inches or so, just to get it back onto this corner. So I want this kind of on this corner, because remember the concrete's gonna be poured here as an L shape.
Yeah.
So here is the road base brought up for the slab. They compacted it nicely. You can see some footers here. What I'm pointing to here is this form board under the shipping container. I'm asking them to push that further back or leave it so that when the concrete's poured, there's not a gap. I don't want stuff to fall down in that area.
All right, we got some exciting stuff going on out here at the shipping container gym build behind me. I still got some work to do on the shipping container itself. I need to treat some of the rust before it gets painted. I don't think I'm gonna get to that before the concrete guys do their thing, so I'm just gonna have to protect it when I'm doing that so I don't get any paint on the concrete. But hopefully getting it painted, I'm gonna do a dark kind of green with a hint of brown in it on the shipping container. I think it'll look really good with the rough cut cedar color, and then a lot of the gym stuff will be kind of black. So I think those in general, kind of the black, the dark green, and the concrete aesthetic with the cedar will be really good. So pretty excited about that. You can see that there's, you know, form boards down. This is going to be a little bit more than 400 square feet of concrete. The whole kind of footprint of this will be about 600 square feet. So this is a 20-foot run here, and then this guy is a 30-foot run here. You can see they've dug 3 footers for my big 7.5-inch cedar posts, so 3 across the front. And then I'm having actually, instead of the pad expanded, I'm just having them pour separate footers in the back. So you can actually see one is kind of right here where this orange square is. And then you have 2 more along the back of the building. That last one we're cheating in a little bit away from that tree. And so you can actually see one form board is right there for the footer. So the idea is to basically be able to have the 3 back columns off the pad and maximize the span of the rafters. I'm gonna have them about 6 inches off the back of the shipping container. So if I ever wanna pull this shipping container out and remove it, that is possible. The back columns will be about 10 feet tall. The front columns that I'm kind of up here standing next to will be about 14 feet tall. So it's gonna be a gazebo shed style roof with big 4x8 by 15 foot headers across all the columns, and then big 4x6 by 20 rafters, trusses, whatever you want to call them, making basically the span across from the front columns to the back columns. I'm eventually going to do a retaining wall here with railroad ties, so that's going to look pretty cool. And then we'll kind of, you know, fix up some of this area, get rid of this stump, try to make this kind of a cool hang gym spot, outdoor, you know, multi-use space.
Unfortunately, when the concrete was being poured and the final steps of the form boards were being finished, I was out of town on a family trip. So I didn't really get to take too much content as far as pictures and videos, unfortunately, but here is some pictures of the process. I did have them burnish it. I wanted more of a interior garage finish. Some would say that's maybe too dangerous and slippery for an outdoor area. This is a gym I won't likely be exercising if it's wet. It's also Central Texas, so it's not often wet. Yes, this is appropriate PPE. Do not forget I am OSHA 30 certified. So I decided to cut a hole in the side of the shipping container for a door. I was waiting on the cedar, I was getting a little antsy, and I really wanted to keep working on the shipping container, but didn't really have much to do. So I decided to start doing a door at this point. Up to this point, I wasn't really positive if I wanted to do some sort of slider with glass. So anyways, I decided to go with a barn style cedar door. Very simple. It's not going to keep bugs out. The door's hardware has already been removed. This is not an airtight container anymore. It's inexpensive, and I can buy all the hardware at the local Tractor Supply and Home Depot.
So I'm gonna catch you up. I got some pictures and some short videos I can show you, but basically I kind of cut a hole in the side of the shipping container. I bought some hardware and kind of built this door. And right now I'm just gonna plank it with cedar and this pin gun. Basically what you missed is the concrete pour. I was out of town, couldn't video that. The shipping container, I have a bunch of videos that you guys will see of me kind of leveling it and kind of how I got it in its final resting place. This concrete's actually poured in an L shape around it, even though it looks like it's sitting on it. And then painted it this green, came out really good. I think it's gonna look good with some black trim, the cedar, the concrete, and then kind of the black workout material and equipment and stuff that I used. And there you have it. Looks pretty good.
So these are the Simpson Strong Tie post brackets. They're 7.5 inch by 7.5 inch. They have hardware that they come with. I ended up going with a concrete anchor. These are super solid. I'm just kind of getting the layout and the general idea of the size. Guys, very exciting moment. The cedar is here. I'm trying to kind of just straighten out some of these boards. They're a little wet. They just got cut. Trying to just keep them tight to each other. There was some bows, which I will put up, but I'm just trying to get them as flat as possible. Now you can see I'm on the back column. This is a 10-footer. I'm just getting it in place, getting it level, and then I will put the fasteners in. I have these Simpson Strong Tie fasteners that come with a nut that self-center in these holes. They look really good. It's a little bit easier than buying long hardware, cutting it and dealing with all of that kind of stuff. So anyways, I'm an idiot and I'm smashing this beautiful 10-foot cedar post with my sledgehammer before I realize I need to get some just extra wood to put in here.
You may be wondering what that black contraption is on the left. So that is a custom made by yours truly power rack, partially. The front part is metal. Everything else is 4x6 pressure treated lumber that I kind of designed to make a wall mounted system, now a free floating system. I put some of these casters on it that can raise and lower so you can move it around, and this thing ends up becoming a huge part as far as helping me with the construction of this gym, because these cedar posts and headers and everything are super heavy, and I'm doing it all by myself. You'll see in this video, super sketchy, but that's about I think about an 8.5, maybe 9 foot tall power rack there. So I use that quite a bit throughout this build. Okay, so this is the first 14 footer going up, and I almost dropped on myself. A lot of you might point out it's dangerous the way I'm doing it. I should have moved the lumber that's sitting there because it's in the way. Yeah, all of that's true, but sometimes I just get really excited and I want to frickin' build stuff, okay? Shoot me. Very exciting, the back 3 columns are erect. We are fully erect in the back at this point. You can see them from the front area. You can see them poking out over the shipping container there. So this is an awesome first step. So I'm standing on the shipping container here. I have my laser on that far column. I think I'm shooting just kind of a height there to see how close we are, maybe vertical as well, to see how well in a line they are. You can see my 114 footer over here to the right.
Unfortunately, the person that I'm buying through is being getting all over the place with lead times, and it's kind of messing me up. But I've gotten to a good point. Now I'm kind of just working on maybe straightening out some of these rafters. So these are 4x6 by 20 foot rough cut cedar. I'm owed 9 more of those. So I need all my headers, 9 more rafters, and then 2 more posts to get at least just the structure and the frame built. So right now I got some scaffolding, so that's pretty exciting. I need scaffolding because look at this post. That thing's twice as tall as I am. It's so tall that I decided I need scaffolding to help me with the rafters, help me with cleaning up the cedar once I have it up there. It'll help me do the roof. It'll help me do a lot of stuff.
I am broken at this point from unloading all of this cedar, so I'm trying to use a new technique with a toe strap and some hip magic. This is my middle column, so I'm just unloading it, trying to figure out what area I want to face which direction, what I want the top to be, the bottom, all that kind of stuff. This is a fantastic exercise and a good balance challenge to get these things upright. You can see I'm using my power rack here to catch it so it won't go over, and so this ended up working out pretty well for these large columns. On me getting the final column erect, but here it is standing up. You can kind of get to the feel of the size of this thing at this point. At least I can when I'm standing under these things. So it's really starting to come together. I'm super stoked with the progress. Here are the 3.5 inch, I believe they're 1/2 inch thick Simpson Strong Tie fasteners that I'm using with the heavy like nut that self-centers in these. These are super solid. You get 8 in each column, so I was really happy with this system and how it turned out. You guys can hear my poor hammer drill is about to give up. I ended up having to get a new 1/2 inch drill and hammer drill. This thing has gone through a lot of screws.
So this is a really cool real world example of the more oxygenated cedar that has been up for a few days versus the ones that are newly cut, these two here vertically. You can see they're a little bit more purple. I'll also show you the back of these headers here that are pretty purple. These were just cut today, these other ones we're looking at, so you can see how rich and almost like red purple this cedar is right when it's cut. It's really pretty, but eventually you get kind of the more brown tones and tans. The door is also cedar. It's cheap Home Depot cedar though, so a little different, but I think the sun will basically do the same thing to all of it. So it's really cool to see. You know, I just put up these front two on the right. This is a beautiful post here. This one is like a perfect 14 foot, 7.5 by 7.5. I mean, it's just a beautiful tree. So I wanted to put that one front and center of the view when you're approaching the gym. Right now I have these little pieces of wood on each post. You can kind of see attached. There's a little line mark on there. That was just my laser line that I could shoot to get a constant line. So that's my constant line. I did a measurement off of those to the top, the front, basically corner. And I got a constant like measurement from that line. What I can do with that measurement now is I can figure out how high from that line I need to notch. So I can look at taking my mark, which would be about 8 inches down from the top, and notching this way, and then cleaning it up 2.5 inch inset notch for these headers to sit into. So I'll have to notch the front of all of these and the back of all the 10 footers over there. The headers on the front will be facing this way. The headers on the back will be facing back. And then the 20-foot pieces that are kind of laying here on the slab, those are going to go from the headers in the front to the headers in the back. The rafters will be running this way. The headers are running across these posts. Really excited about the progress. I've kind of just been waiting on lumber. I had 4 posts up for a while, and then I just got the last 2 up, and now I have everything really leveled nicely, and I have all of my Simpson strong tie screw 3.5 inch by 1/4 inch giant 8 screws per post. These they're super solid post brackets. Everything's really strong. It's only going to get stronger from here as I continue to add these heavy headers and then rafters. So check back in.
So you can see I added some blocking to the front of the columns. That's to catch the header. Because I'm doing this by myself, I have to be able to go kind of handle each end one at a time. So I need a kind of second set of hands and something to keep the header from falling out of the notch as I put it in its final resting place before it gets fastened. So here is the headers for the back columns. A little bit easier, a little closer to the ground, but still have the blocking. Now it's much easier to do this one from the shipping container. A little awkward to hold it out over, but it's plenty of places to rest it with the columns and everything like that. So I'm just using some deck hardware to kind of hold these in place until I get the big hardware in. I have this long 1/2 inch drill bit. What you guys didn't see is that I actually use a drill press, a mobile drill press, to get the starter angle of this really, really straight. And then I came back with this long 10 inch or 12 inch 1/2 inch bit and went all the way through so I could put the galvanized hardware, which I will paint black at some point here.
Sorry, it's very bright out here. We have all the headers up. You can see this long, about a 30-foot header over here, and then you can see the 30-foot header back there on the 10-foot post. These are the 14-foot posts they're all tagged in. So you can see all the galvanized hardware that I've used. Right here's 2, 4 in the middle, 2 on the far side, and then same thing here in the back. So you can see all those. Those are 1/2 inch by 10 inch galvanized, double washered nuts and bolts. And so it's super solid. And so this thing is getting super rigid, and I'm really happy with the progress so far. So next will be basically just kind of getting some of these trusses that are on the ground. I need 9 more of them, so I'm still waiting on my lumber order of cedar, but those are going to be the rafters. So those will run from the back headers to this front header, and it'll be kind of a single slope. Very similar pitch to this 2x4, which is just kind of temporarily here tagged, but I did that. And it'll have a nice overhang. So it'll overhang this header by about 18 inches. So this whole front kind of pad that I'm on right now on this work platform will be mostly covered. Not all of it. It's probably about 30 inches, but about half of it will be covered. Guys, it is late and I am tired, but I want to show you something that I'm pretty excited about. It is our first truss. Look at that baby. It is notched with bird mouths on both ends, a little overhang in the back, less overhang in the front than I wanted, but I'm pretty happy with it. So only 15 more to go to bird's mouth notch and lift up there by myself and get tagged into place. And then I'm gonna use those big timber lock giant lag screws, probably 10 inch, so I can get at least 3 or 4 inches of thread into the header.
These were a little difficult to cut because of the thickness of these. These are about 3.5 inches thick, and your saw is gonna cut just about 2.5 inches. So I had to cut it from both sides, transfer the line, go, do a lot of chisel work, but I think pretty happy with the outcome on these bird mounts.
Just starting to cut some bird mouths for the headers, or for the rafters, and bird mouths for them to sit on the headers, I should say. So this guy here on the far right is my sample. So what I did last night was I marked and cut that one. Then I marked it onto this one without cutting it. And then I put it up there. And if it was good, then I knew that my marks on this one was gonna be good. So I went and cut that one this morning. And that one was great, so I tagged it. I didn't wanna have to bring it back down to mark a second rafter, because these things are heavy and it's really awkward getting them from on this 20-foot span from header to header. Here I was putting up bigger beams, but they were shorter. And these posts are only like maybe 14 or so feet apart from each other. So it's a little bit more simple, but this is a big span to go across. And so, it helps a little bit to use the shipping container for like this, probably almost 2/3 of them, but this one's gonna be difficult. So I'm gonna probably, once I get them all cut, I'm gonna probably start that way and start running them this way. So right now I'm just cutting rafters. Got 2 more to cut here, and then I got my other 9 on the trailer. So I might cut those on the trailer, actually. I might just set up my sawhorses over there because I'm getting a little crowded over here with this pull-up weight rack. Things are moving. This is just kind of busy work, but you know, it's necessary. And so right now, some of the things I'm looking out for when I'm looking at these rafters is, are they bowing? This is the 6-inch run here. So they're gonna sit like this, the notch down, obviously. So some things that I'm looking for when they're sitting up like that or sitting on the ground like this is there a bow to them? You know, is there a slight curve? If so, then I want to put that curve up so that they will settle down, because if you put that curve down, then they might settle further and it's going to look really bad from the underside here. The other thing I'm doing is, if they're fairly straight, I'm prioritizing the bottom side being the prettier side. So a lot of these have kind of a natural, you know, you can see some of the bark, and I'm going to get rid of that once I get them all up. I'm gonna get the marks off these and stuff, because there's marks with handling these. You can see there's some green paint on here, on that last board is from the container. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to get the pretty side down, obviously, because we're gonna be looking up at the bottom side of these rafters.
So I'm drilling some pilot holes for the large Timberlock screws. I started with 8-inch screws. Those ended up being too much. I was shearing off screws. So I went down to 8 inches, but I wanted to get at least a 3 or 4-inch pilot hole in this rafter so it wouldn't split. I also had to go buy this, I think it's a Bauer from Harbor Freight, basically like concrete mixer. I needed something with a lot more torque. This was before I bought the new hammer drill. My hammer drill was dying, so I just went and bought this. It was like a plug-in, so it kind of worked for the last little bit if the hammer drill couldn't get the 8-inch fastener all the way through. If I'm being totally honest, I really didn't like working up here. I kind of knew I had a fear of heights, but man, this thing is still moving a good amount before I sheathe it. It's not super fun to be up on this 14-foot height side of the building for me before I like sheathe it and stuff. But you know, this is a DIY project, and I'm on my own on this, so you kind of have to face your fears in some of this stuff.
All right, so I have 3 headers temporarily tagged up. Everything else is pretty much permanently fastened. And then I got to put 3 more up. Remember, I used that 1 header to cut all my headers, so I knew my bird mounts were in a good spot. So I'm generally trying to follow that. And what's happening now on these last 3 that are tagged into the back header is there's a little bit of a gap. And so I need to pull this header back and then tag them, and then you know, put the big lock screws in, the big giant 8-inch screws. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to hook up my come along basically to the back column at the floor, and then just like up here a little bit, and just see if I can squeeze those a little bit. I'm too lazy to move the power rack, so I'm just gonna do it right through the middle. So bear with me a little bit. I don't need a lot of power here. So this old strap with an eyelet on it should work good. And then I'll just keep daisy chaining this together until I have enough just to get a pull on these. So perfect. Nailed it. And I'm going to put it up higher. There we go. Over here. You like that? You like that little whip action right there? Bet you do. Bet you do. Now we got a better leverage point. So let's see how we can do. Okay. Hopefully this one does a little better. It was a little bit. See, a little bit. Maybe if I just put tension, you're looking at a silly goose right here because I didn't even think about my temporary brace as I'm trying to squeeze these two columns together. So I'm going to, I had to go inside and have a protein shake, a little espresso in it, and some honey and you know, some half in it. Really good actually. But I want to release some of the tension on this right now, and then I'm going to temporarily detach the screws back there to see if I can actually get a squeeze on this. If not, I have a ratchet strap. It's a little easier to work, and I'll just go header to header and squeeze it that way. So let me release some tension. I already felt that shift a little bit. Those gaps look closer, so let's see if we can. Oh, baby. Check me out. All right, so a little bit of a gap on that one, but that one's tight right there. So I'm gonna go up there and tag those in. I'm happy with that. Let's go, baby. Well, this has been a fun project, and honestly, my adrenaline has been kind of spiking all day because I don't enjoy being up on the 14-foot end. There is still some movement. Obviously, it gets a lot stiffer when I put those giant 8-inch screws in both sides, both ends of the rafters into that header. So it's definitely stiffening up, but as you can see now, I'm in the part of the build where there's no shipping container for me to put the rafters up onto and then slowly incrementally lift them up to their place. So I'm having to kind of redo this. I got two more. That one was terrible. I used the ladder. It was super sketchy. This is tagged to this column, this post here. I need to pull that one over probably, but I'm gonna basically just try to get them up on that header. And then with this thing up to the kind of the, just the 2x6. And then I'm gonna have to climb up there and lift them up individually. So that's gonna be super sketchy. This is the outside one. It's the prettiest. Oh, it's so crazy how some of these are like almost not light, but there's such a variation in weight. Obviously, a bandsaw is not super accurate, so some of them are fatter. But in general, they're all pretty similar in dimension, so it's kind of insane. Gotten good shoulder workouts the last several days. I don't know if I want to put them on that header first and then up here. I'm so over lifting giant pieces of cedar over my head. while the wind's blowing. Very exciting news. I have every single one of the rafters up and tagged with a giant 8-inch lag screw. Now there's 2 lag screws, one in the front and one in the back that like sheared in the wood somewhere. So what I'm gonna do there, I think, is I'm probably gonna try to do an up screw through the header into the rafter. Very common type of screw that they use now in houses is hurricane ties. A lot of times they're tying into their top plate or their rafters into their top plate with a giant like lag screw up instead of the straps down. But it is a behemoth of a structure. I mean, it's so big, and being up there at 14 feet is honestly not fun. And I didn't realize I had a pretty healthy fear of heights. This is kind of it from every angle. So if you'll notice, the front of each rafter is at variable length. What I did was I prioritized the back, cut my bird's mouth, got as much length as I can so I can get as much of an overhang here. I'm a little disappointed with my overhang. I wanted closer to 18 inches. It looks like I'm gonna probably have less than 10 inches once I do there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a string line. But I was thinking, because I also have to cut my headers, you'll see my headers are still long in an area. And honestly, I think the easiest way to cut those is gonna be like a chainsaw because they're so big and because it's just so high and awkward and I don't like heights. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna continue the build with the plywood, which I'm gonna paint black on the bottom side, and then cut everything. So once I run my plywood, if I square everything off with diagonal measurements and I know where that line is, I can pop a line and I can run the plywood or particle board to that line. And then I'll have a platform to stand on and it'll be a much more solid surface when I go to lean over the edge and cut off the overhang of rafters or headers. So man, I'm stoked and exhausted to get to this point. You know, I really didn't know what this was gonna look like or how big it was gonna be or what kind of challenge it was gonna be. And I really wanted to challenge myself and my shoulders are getting tired, and do all of it myself. And I have literally done every single piece myself when it comes to building this cedar structure, including the door. Obviously, I farmed out the concrete and the paint because I really didn't want to paint the thing, but I will have to do some touch up. Yeah, it's a super solid structure now, and I'm really happy with the way it looks, and I'm excited to continue this build, but this is a good milestone. Still a few little kinks to work out, but really good progress this weekend, and it's probably got a few more hours. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna take these leftover 2x6s that I bought just for, temporary support and stuff, or I'm gonna mark one every 24 inches on center. And I'm gonna go ahead and tag it up the top. I'm gonna measure a line from the back so I have a constant, and I'm gonna tag a 2x6 across. I'm gonna have to use 2, but I'm gonna try to get these all nice and spaced out evenly. One, I think it's gonna be a lot easier to run my blocking when I do that, because it'll temporarily hold it where it needs to be. So right now I'll be using clamps and stuff to kind of squeeze things and push things away from each other in order to get them at that perfect 24 inch on center. Because some of these are bowed slightly. It doesn't really look like it, but they are. So I think that's a good idea, and it really solidify the structure. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that today. And then I probably shut it down for the day because I think it's almost 5. Super stoked. Hope you guys think it's cool looking. I think it's really cool looking and so just big, almost just like kind of like crazy, like magnificent, I think is the right term. I officially have 2 2x6 runners. I think they're 16 footers runners marked off at 24 inches. So there you can see the line in the X, the line in the X, the line in the X. And so now they're evenly spaced enough for me to probably do some blocking. So I'm gonna do some blocking that I think will help a lot with the rigidity. I still think it has a good amount of movement front to back. Like right now I'm rocking and it's fucking moving. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do some triangle ties from the back header to the front columns
I'm gonna try to stay away from doing one in the middle. I don't want the ceiling to be, or I don't want an object that low, but I think if I did it, it could be cool anyways. You could probably tie in gym equipment to it or something, like a cable pull down. Because ultimately I want it to be a super solid structure. But I think I can definitely do them on the ends, the far ends, from the back header at the 10-foot columns to the front columns 10 feet up. So they would, you know, you would have a triangle on the profile, the side of the building. So that is a super strong structure and mechanically very sound for wind and all kinds of stuff. This is an open structure, so I'm not super worried about it like getting picked up and moved around or anything. And it's got the shipping container under it, so it couldn't really go that far. The goal I think now is to probably button up the few little things, like the few little bolts that are sheared, get those rafters all figured out. And then I want to probably go ahead and run sheeting and see how that solidifies the building, because it already feels like this runner right here tying each rafter into each other has already done a great job kind of making everything feel really solid. All right, we have blocking all the way down to about right here. I got 4 more bays to do. It's over the open part, so I got kind of a work platform there, but basically painted all this 2x4 blacking. So I pre-cut it, pre-pocket hole screwed it, and then painted it with some just leftover like fence paneling that I had. So I painted on all sides, just knocked them down from the top, and then pocket screwed them on the back side, so you wouldn't really be able to see. You might be able to see like one up there. You could probably see those pocket holes, but it looks pretty good. It's pretty straight, it seems. Obviously the temporary planking that's on top is not quite straight, so it's kind of throwing it off a little bit. I'm super excited to get rid of all of this extra support, 2x4 and 2x6 and everything like these that I've been standing on and working on, just because I feel like it's really gonna give me an idea of what the structure is gonna look like. So I'm gonna finish this blocking, and then I think I'm gonna go get a 20x30 tarp, but I'm gonna cover this thing up because I just wanna see what it looks like with a, you know, shade. And then basically I'm ordering 2 more 4x6 by about 20-foot rafters. Basically it's the same size as these big guys up here. I'm gonna run one from the back column to the front column about 10 feet high and flat, and then I'm gonna do one on this side as well. I'm gonna tie them into the back header and columns, I think, and then tie them into the front columns. And the reason I'm doing that is there's still some racking front to back. When you're up there, you can feel the whole structure moving a little bit. It's very uneasy, and I don't really want to put a bunch of plywood up there until I have it really solid. So I'm hoping to get those milled pretty soon and slap them up. I'm not crazy about it, especially like down here where it's like open really tall. Obviously with that rack gone and that temporary 2x4 gone, you can see how tall it is. And so now I'll have a piece that's like there and then running across to the back. And I kind of wanted it to be big and open. I feel like it still will feel that way, but I'll be a lot more comfortable with basically that extra support and really solidifying the structure, because I don't want to be working out in here and the wind blows and it falls on me. So whenever I'm using this sketchy scaffolding that I got from Harbor Freight, and it's not like attached to like this pillar right now, I have it clamped to, and it's just free floating out here, it is so sketchy. I hate it. So what I did was I cut some 2x4s, screwed them together here and kind of notched them to sit on the low and the high side. You can kind of see over there, and then crisscrossed them and then strapped it together just on one dimension. So that has like greatly changed the stability of this thing, and it actually worked really well. Wish I would have done it sooner. So anyways, I thought that was an interesting little quick fix on the job today. All right, this is the first time I've taken off the 2x6 temporary bracing across the front and kind of seen how high that header is without any obstruction, and I think it looks awesome. There's clearly still bracing I'm removing right now, and yeah, I've been going around and kind of cleaning up the wood in the areas where there's still kind of the cedar fir, getting that down to at least like the underbark, that real white or kind of light yellow stuff. I still got some stuff to clean up, and actually what I did was I made a temporary platform. You can see the pine 2x4 little thing right there on top of my workout power rack, if you will, because that's taller than this. And I can't quite reach the bottom of the rafters up against this front header because it's like 14 feet total in the air. So yeah, I'm just kind of getting a first look at what this is gonna look like, big it's gonna be, and I think also covering up the roof is gonna also make just a ton of difference in terms of aesthetic, and it's gonna be black on the bottom side, which I think is gonna look really cool. So yeah, that's the check-in. Take a look. I'll check back in a little bit. Check in on putting the tarp on the roof. It's going terribly. The storm is coming in perfectly, like literally right now. And I am trying to get this tarp on top of this thing and keep it somewhat dry because it's gonna rain for the next 5 days. And it's not working well because it's a 600 square foot sail and the wind is crazy right now. So
here is the added support that I'm adding to help just kind of stiffen up this building. I think these 14-foot columns are flexing a little bit. So I have some temporary blocking at a predetermined height kind of tagged on the side of the building there with a clamp. And I'm just lifting this up in place and timber lock screwing it into place for now. I'm coming back and adding hardware like through bolts and things like that.
all right, so I have 19 4x8 15/32, so just shy of ½ inch plywood. It's not the most pretty plywood. It's got a lot of grain and knots in it, but I'm gonna paint it all black. So I've just been setting up like temporary paint area so that I can just roll it on really quick. I'm gonna try to hit this once, let it dry for a little bit, and then hit it twice, and hopefully maybe peel it off and set up the other stuff so I can get it out of my truck. But I'm hoping this makes it pretty quick. I need to paint the sides, like the edges as well, because I don't want you to be able to see raw wood on the overlap on the seams. Actually, I don't need to paint any of the long sides because those are all going to be on rafters. So the only thing I need to paint is the ends, which will be really easy. And then I'm going to end up cutting some anyways. So my goal is really just to get paint as much paint on these as possible, and just kind of run through the 19 or at least 15 of them, or maybe even just 12 of them, so that I can start putting them up. I want to get this thing covered. It's been raining a lot, and the cedar is getting beat up by the sun, and it's getting grayed out. And I need to get it sealed, but I can't get it sealed because of the rain. So it's quite a conundrum. So hopefully I can get the majority of it covered up, this week through the weekend. So anyways, here's where we're at. Huh. All right, so I have one coat down on everything, all 8 of these. This is the first one I did. I'm rolling it pretty heavy. I cut myself and I have paint everywhere. I'm rolling it pretty heavy, and I'm actually super happy with that coverage. I think it looks really good. I mean, all of these look really good. Keep in mind, these are gonna be up there, black facing down. So you would think I don't need to be perfect, but I wanna uplight from on top of the gym. I want to put some lights up there to shine up, just like kind of dim lit, yellowish light, like that 3000 type of light. I really like that. I think it'll look really cool on the black ceiling with the rafters that are cedar. So I'm gonna just dip my roller and do one single like pretty light pass on all of these. And honestly, it's kind of cool because by the time I get to the last one, the first one's dry. So I just got to go through that, and it'll be faster this time because I'm not having to roll super hard. And it's drying pretty quickly, so I can maybe stack these somewhere, let them dry a little bit longer, or just leave them. But I'd like to try to get a few up there, or at least one, and get it squared off so that I can just start running them. And then I'm gonna have to figure out my cuts and stuff. So definitely not gonna get super far into this, probably have a few hours of light maybe left, but it's moving along pretty quickly. I'm pretty happy with the progress. All right, that's 2 coats on everything. It looks really good. It looks also like it might rain in a second. So hopefully this dries up pretty quick. Those last 2 panels over there on the far side is what I hit last. This is probably almost dry. So pretty happy with that. I'm gonna make some sort of table or something over here and unload these. Maybe I'll use my saw horses, and kind of pack up just in case it starts raining. I might mess around with something. I still have the plyo box to finish sanding and stuff, but really happy with the progress. I'm shutting it down. I'm exhausted, but I unloaded the rest of the 4x8s out of my truck, and I put them on these little plastic freaking sawhorses that I thought were gonna collapse after like 5 sheets. There's 11 sheets on there right now. And yeah, they're holding steady on uneven ground. There's 2x4s under them, but I'm actually pretty impressed with those because they are super cheap. They were here at the cabin, big score for the cabin.
a lot of stuff at the cabin, actually. Chainsaws, blowers, weed whackers, all kinds of cool stuff. So a bunch of tanks with fluid in them that I don't know what the fluid is. Anyways, my allergies are killing me. I've been cutting boards and just not wearing face protection, so I'm bloodshot. Guys, this is a pretty big milestone for this project because the structure has been up for a few weeks now. We've had bad weather, so I haven't really been able to work on it, but I've been really trying to get it enclosed. That's why I tried to put a tarp on it the other day, which turned into a giant sail and didn't work. So now it's sitting back there under scrap 2x4s. But there is 4 4x8s up there. So that's pretty exciting, about 120 square feet of just roof. So it's very cool to see this. You know I painted in black because you've been watching this video, but I've been really excited to see what it looks like to not see through this roof. And so this is pretty exciting. I got 4 more, and then I need to load up more and paint more. So I'm gonna probably be tagging these off. And honestly, I thought so thoroughly on how to square off this building. The problem is this is rough cut cedar. I didn't trim the rafters in the front. You can see that. There's a long one and then short ones. I didn't trim the rafters in the back. They're a little closer. And the reason why is I wanted to kind of be able to trim them after I got the plywood up there because I didn't want to over trim them or whatever. So I left the excess. The problem is it's very hard to square off a building when you don't have corners to work off of and you're kind of guessing. So my idea was to put stuff up here, tag it in place with a handful of screws, 4, 6, 7, 8 screws, gap everything. You can see there's a little sunlight gap. So that's an 1/8 inch gap. That's for expansion and contraction of the sheathing. You don't want it to buckle or anything like that. But super excited, looks really good. I'm gonna probably put some more of that blocking over each expansion joint. So that'll be pretty annoying. But you can see this stuff's starting to gray out. You can see the cedar. And so I really wanted to get it covered because I haven't gotten it sealed yet because of the weather. So kind of a double whammy, but this is super exciting. I'm gonna try to get these other 4 up and then paint 8 more and then keep it rolling. So thanks for checking in. Freaking exhausted, but look at how much we have covered here. I got 5 sheets left. Still gotta cut those in half. So that should give me 10 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I got a small strip over there at the very end to get. The majority of the roof is at least covered. So that's exciting, especially because it looks like we're about to get some rain. We were getting some drizzles there. I need to get another gallon of paint and then I need to cut some of these babies. But I'm freaking exhausted. I hate being up there. It sucks. So anyways, check back in. It's hot. And I'm doing the blocking in the ceiling in between the rafters. I'm blocking basically wherever there's a expansion gap for the sheathing, so you can kind of see those slits of light. That's what I'm blocking. You can see a little bit further back in the roof line. There's those horizontal black 2x4s that I've blacked out and put up there. Then I'll screw the sheathing down into that and hopefully give the roof a little bit more rigidity. So once I get all the blocking in, I'll need to go up and screw those down. Gotta do some lights on the ceiling in here, just like slim, like the yellow 3000K light I really like. It's very soft. I think it's good for your circadian rhythm versus the white light, which is like a hospital. So I'm super happy. I think it looks beautiful. It's you know, a ton of touch up to do. Still have to do paint touch up and all of that kind of stuff. So this pretty much concludes the first video. So like I said, ton of work to do. Still have to trim the rafters up top. Not sure if I'm gonna do that before or after the metal roof, but either way, this is a big milestone and I'm super excited to get here and actually be able to start working out in here. I had to clean this place out. I still want to do rubber mats on the ground.
So this is how I decided to trim the rafters, was from on top of the basically power rack with the chainsaw. Worked out pretty well.
1001, 1002, 1003. Whew. Wow, so we have hit a major milestone here at the gym project. Most of the heavy lifting is done. I still got to clean up this site. I still got to put a metal roof on this thing. I have that ordered, 20-foot, 2-inch panels in 3 feet. So 10 panels should go pretty quick. I've done metal roofs quite a bit. Right now I'm blocking the underside of the sheathing where there's an expansion gap. that's kind of monotonous, boring work. I got to do a ton of paint touch up, but also what's going to be in video 2, you ask, a solar system, a 600 watt solar system. I think I'm going to do 3 panels. I'm going to do like a 1,000 watt battery bank, power bank to power 1 fan. I'm gonna do a big fan, like maybe an 8-foot fan right here in the middle, and probably like 3 to 4 speakers and lights. I'm gonna try to make this thing fully off grid. It doesn't need a ton of power. I don't wanna run power from the house. That's just annoying, and it's through the woods, so trenching would be super annoying, and I don't wanna have a cable laying anywhere. That's terrible. So, and then from there, a ton of dirt work that we're gonna do right here. So basically from this left side of the screen all the way to where the camera is sitting is going to be probably about a 36 to 40 inch retaining wall, because there's quite a bit of elevation coming this way. I know it's hard to tell in the video, but I want to make sure the water goes around this slab, and then I want to move a lot of this dirt and bring in soil and get some really nice grass and make this area very zen and awesome. So I'm very excited about that. So there's a ton of work to be done. There's a ton of work to be watched. So make sure you check in for these next videos. But I appreciate you guys sticking around for video 1. Here comes the sun, and check back in. Thanks, guys.